Hello everyone, this is the Student Assistant channel, and today we'll dive deep into the American Civil War, a defining conflict from 1861 to 1865 that tested the very fabric of the United States. Join us as we uncover its causes, key battles, and lasting legacy for history students, teachers, and all curious viewers. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more engaging historical content. The American Civil War, raging from 1861 to 1865, stands as a pivotal moment in the nation's history, emerging from profound and deep-seated divisions that had been simmering for decades between the industrializing North and the agrarian South. These tensions encompassed economic disparities, political disagreements over the balance of power, and profound moral conflicts, ultimately leading to the secession of Southern states and the formation of the Confederacy. The North and South were starkly different in their ways of life and economies. The industrial North thrived on manufacturing, factories, railroads, and wage labor, fostering rapid urbanization and progress. In stark contrast, the South's economy was heavily reliant on slave-based agriculture, particularly the cultivation of cotton, tobacco, and rice on vast plantations worked by millions of enslaved African Americans, creating a rigid social hierarchy. Political tensions flared intensely over the issue of states' rights versus the authority of the federal government, with Southern states arguing for greater autonomy to protect their institutions. Meanwhile, the moral debate surrounding the expansion of slavery into new territories intensified, fueled by powerful abolitionist movements led by figures like Frederick Douglass, Harriet Beecher Stowe, and William Lloyd Garrison, whose writings and speeches galvanized opposition nationwide. The conflict finally ignited on April 12, 1861, with a Confederate attack on Fort Sumter in the harbor of Charleston, South Carolina, where Southern forces bombarded the Union-held fort for 34 hours before it surrendered. This dramatic event marked the war's official outbreak, shocking the nation and compelling both sides to prepare for what they believed would be a short struggle. President Abraham Lincoln responded decisively by calling for 75,000 volunteers to serve for 3 months, aiming to preserve the Union and reclaim federal property. This led to rapid mobilization on both sides, as the Confederacy also raised armies, with each believing in a swift victory, Northerners expecting an easy suppression of rebellion, and Southerners confident in their defensive advantages and fighting spirit. Early battles, such as the First Battle of Bull Run on July 21, 1861, near Manassas, Virginia, shocked the Union public as Confederate forces routed the inexperienced Federal Army, sending panicked soldiers fleeing back to Washington in carriages. This battle revealed the war would be long, bloody, and far more brutal than anyone had anticipated, shattering illusions of a quick resolution. The Battle of Antietam on September 17, 1862, near Sharpsburg, Maryland, became the bloodiest single day in American history, with over 22,000 casualties in just 12 hours of savage fighting along Antietam Creek. Later, the Battle of Gettysburg from July 1st to 3rd, 1863, marked the Confederacy's high-water mark, as General Robert Lee's invasion of the North was decisively repelled, inflicting irreplaceable losses on Southern arms. General William Tecumseh Sherman's march to the sea in late 1864 introduced the concept of total war, as his armies cut a 60-mile wide path of destruction through Georgia, burning crops, railroads, and mills to break Southern morale and logistics. Simultaneously, the Union naval blockades, part of the Anaconda Plan, effectively strangled the Confederate economy by preventing the export of cotton and import of vital supplies, weakening the South over time. A turning point came in 1863 when President Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation on January 1st, declaring freedom for all slaves in Confederate-held territories, affecting about 3.5 million people. This bold act not only reframed the war as a moral crusade against slavery, but also allowed freed African Americans to enlist in the Union Army, adding over 180,000 black soldiers to the fight for liberty. Lincoln's leadership was further immortalized by his Gettysburg Address on November 19, 1863, delivered at the dedication of the Soldiers' National Cemetery, where in just 272 words, he eloquently reaffirmed the principles of democracy. He declared that the nation was dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal, and emphasized a government of the people, by the people, for the people, that shall not perish from the earth. The tide decisively turned with the Union victory at Vicksburg on July 4, 1863, giving control of the Mississippi River, and the later fall of Richmond, the Confederate capital, in April 1865. General Ulysses S. Grant's relentless overland campaign in 1864 hammered Lee's Army of Northern Virginia through brutal battles like the Wilderness and Spotsylvania, pushing the Union advantage inexorably forward despite heavy losses. On April 9, 1865, General Robert Lee surrendered his army of 28,000 men to Grant at Appomattox Courthouse, Virginia, effectively ending the 4-year war, with generous terms allowing soldiers to return home. Tragically, just 5 days later on April 14th, President Lincoln was assassinated by John Wilkes Booth at Ford's Theater in Washington, plunging the nation into mourning as it began the arduous path to peace. The 13th Amendment, ratified on December 6, 1865, formally abolished slavery throughout the United States, declaring that neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime, shall exist. However, the Reconstruction era that followed brought immense challenges, including rebuilding the devastated Southern economy, infrastructure, and society amid resentment and violence. The 14th Amendment in 1868 granted citizenship to all persons born or naturalized in the United States, including former slaves, and promised equal protection under the laws. The 15th Amendment in 1870 prohibited denying the right to vote based on race, color, or previous servitude. Yet despite these advances, long-term racial tensions, segregation, and disenfranchisement persisted, profoundly shaping American society for generations. The Civil War taught us profound and enduring lessons about the dangers of division, the strength found in unity, the cost of preserving democracy, and the moral imperative to confront injustice. It reshaped the United States, abolishing slavery and strengthening federal authority, but left scars that remind us of the fragility of the Union. What are your thoughts on this critical period in American history, the battles, leaders, and transformations that defined a nation? Share your insights, questions, or favorite facts in the comments below, and be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more deep dives into history from the Student Assistant channel.